Welcome to Real Kiwi Fishing. This week, Pea and I off the bays. And what we're going to be doing is fishing our carrot patch. Now we're coming into mid-June, and our carrot patch sort of starts filling up with carrots. As it gets more in the winter, it gets a lot more coming in. But we thought today what we'll do is we'll head out and we'll have a nosy around the carrot patch. What we're also going to do is we're going to try a few different ways of catching them. So we've caught them on jigs before, soft baits and obviously baits. So we're just trying a few different little things. I've got one on my line at the moment biting. It's on bait. He's actually got a jig on his, on a sabiki, line of sabikis. He's been catching a few like that. Is hooked up now, and I've also got a few little jigs and stuff like that we can chuck around. So what we do is we head out, pretty much drop a burley and bring the fish to us, but we've also caught them on the drift with the lures and with baits. But yeah, it's a great time of year to head out and actually try for a few gurnard off the bays. So we'll see how we go today. Hopefully get into a few. Hopefully you enjoy. So we've just done our run to our carrot patch, and we've done a whole 1.5 litres of fuel, and as you can see the sounder is just chocker of fish mid-water and on the bottom. We do get a lot of snapper here as well sometimes, but when you're onto the Gurnard you'll get pretty much sort of 5 to 1. So we'll just sort of, what we'll do is we'll start with a drift. There's a couple of ways we'll try and fish these Gurnard. We'll start with a little bit of a drift and we'll drop the jigs and just, as we're going along, just jiggle them around. And if that doesn't work, we'll head back up to our spot, drop the anchor, and we've got a burley. And the great thing with burley is you'll bring them to you, and you don't have to go hunting for them. They'll normally just turn up. Now it's just after high tide. I like fishing that slack tide, either high or low, so we've just missed it. But we'll just see how we go. So we'll just do a little bit of a drift, sort of maybe 50-100 meters, see what we get, and if we get nothing, we'll come back up and probably drop the pick. So yeah, fingers crossed, it's a few Gurnard in here. What I'm doing is just keeping in contact with that bottom and just doing a little yo-yo. So hopefully that's sort of stirring up the bottom as well as it hits the bottom, and the Gurnard will come along and think, hello, what's that, and have a go at it. And I just keep letting line out as we're moving along. stay in contact with the bottom. And there I got a bite there. Oh, so there you go, that was my first bite, and I'd say that was a Gurnard. So I just keep doing that yo-yo motion and then hitting the bottom, yo-yo it up, hit the bottom. He got his first Gurnard on the little lure. He has a little lure on the bottom of Sabiki's. What we've done is we've basically anchored up. The wind's picked up, and we've just dropped the burley. Try and bring them around, and that's our first one. We've been here for probably about an hour, so hopefully we'll get a few more. I'm going to try a few baits as well, just to see what's actually working better.
Small now.
Yeah. There you go, Pea's got another one there. They're just starting to come on the bite. Starting to turn up. Pea's getting them on that bottom lure there. So yeah, they're definitely around. So I'm hooked up. Feels like a Gurnard. This one's on bait, on a little bit of Kiwi.
What you got? What you got?
So there you go, little Gurnard. And that one was on the bait, on the Kiwi.
Yellow tail and a Gurnard.
So there you go, Pea got that one on the Sabiki. A little tube of bait. So I'm hooked up again. Another little Gurnard. So yeah, they're just sort of coming through every sort of 5 minutes. We'll get a little patch of them. And the cool thing is we've caught no snapper. We're just targeting Gurnard, and it's working. That's not a bad Gurnard. There you go. That's what we're after. So once again, that was on the that's a little bit of yellowtail, that one. Pea's hooked up. That's another nice Gurnard there.
There we go.
So yeah, that's what we're after.
Pretty girls.
That's what we're pretty much targeting. And like I was saying, we've had no snapper, which is the cool thing. It's quite cool to come out and actually target a fish and only catch that. And it's cool to actually catch something different than just snapper. Hooked up again. Feels like another little Gurnard. Man, we've just caught no snapper. We haven't even caught one. And it's just been great. There you go. So Pea's hooked up again. There you go, another nice little Gurnard off the base. Like I was saying, sometimes when we fish this spot, we do get a lot of snapper in between the Gurnard, and it sort of can be like one snapper to every 5 Gurnard. But this time, basically had no snapper, and that's the cool thing when you want to come out and actually target that one species. Especially along the bays, it's quite difficult to get away from snapper. But this time of year, the snapper are moving sort of out into the deeper water. And it gives us a chance on our carrot patch to come out and actually get a few nice gurnard. So yeah, plans coming together so far. So what I've done also is I've brought along some of these fish bite burley. This is what I had the other night when I was fishing off the rocks. And I'm just chucking a few of those out every now and then as well as the burley that we've got going. Pea's hooked up again to another kahawai.
Shut up. Take that shit out.
He's catching the kahawai for us today. So I'm hooked up again. Feels like another little gurnard. Yep, another little gurnard. Well, not so little. It's a bit better size.
Oh, that's a nice one.
There you go. It's a decent gurnard for the bay. Now what I use on this line is I've actually got a jig head with a skirt, and I've chucked a bit of bait on the jig head on the hook. There's one on my other rod. So I'm hooked up again on this rod. Hopefully it's not a snapper, so we don't want those turning up. And no, it's a kahawai. So there you go, from a gurnard to a kahawai. And like I was saying before, we have yet to catch one single snapper. Pea looked like he hooked up on one, still haven't boated one. Not even small snapper that you can catch in the bays. So pretty insane that, yeah, the plan was to come out and just target gurnard and hopefully there was no snapper, and it's actually pretty much insanely 100% of just gurnard. I missed a couple of fish there. And what I'm doing with this little jig head is, as I hit the bottom, I just give it a half wind so it's just off the bottom, and the skirt will be flailing around as well as the bait. So this one's just straight up and down, and it's getting quite a few bites. That'll just be moving in the little swell that we've got rolling, and that'll be bringing the gurnard in. They'll see that movement and they'll come in and just grab it. So it's hit the bottom, I've put it in gear, and because it's in the rod holder, basically I'm just chucking it straight in the rod holder. Hit the bottom again, and just a little wind, so it's just bouncing on the bottom. Hits the bottom, comes up with the swell, hits the bottom, and that's been getting a few hits. So there you go, Pea's hooked up and caught another nice little gurnard. They're really starting to come on the bite now. Like I was saying, it's getting that slack tide, it's getting low tide, and I really like fishing that slack tide for gurnard. And they're coming in thick and fast now. Now what I'm going to do, because they've turned up, I'm pretty much getting bites all the time, picking up gurnard now. Pea's hooked up. He's just dropped it, but they're turning up now and they're really on the bite, and like I was saying, it's on that slack tide and they're just going nuts. So what I'm going to do So I've chucked that little 40-gram slippery slider on again. I'm just going to drop that to the bottom, let it hit the bottom, leave it in the rod holder so it's just off the bottom. It's going to bounce up and down on that, right on the bottom there. And hopefully the Gurnard will see the skirt sort of flailing around. Still got my bait on this rod here, and I'll just drop this straight to the bottom, straight up and down. So it's hit the bottom, just leave it in the rod holder, flick the barrel arm over again, let it hit the bottom again. It's on the bottom, give it a little wind, and it's just off the bottom. So it actually hits the bottom as the boat rolls over, and then it comes off the bottom again. And that'll just be flailing around, and we'll see if that see if the rod holder picks up a Gurnard. This is the best time to try a few different things when the fish are here. Try your jigs. And now that that tide's sort of slackened right off, we've still got the burley going. The burley will just be filtering down straight under the boat. Oh yep, so yep, here we go. Little slippery slider in the rod holder. It's just been bouncing up and down on the bottom, and it's picked up a Gurnard. It's not a big one, but hey, it's still a Gurnard, and that's on the little slippery slider, 40 gram. There you go. So like I was saying, that was just in the rod holder, hit the bottom, just let it off the bottom a little bit, bouncing up and down, and it come along, grabbed it, and he'll go back nicely. So if you're fishing it like I like to fish it, you can just do a yo-yo sort of action on it. You can do a couple of little taps up and down, so it's like something's wounded on the bottom. That's how I would fish it. Now the baits have been working a little bit better than the jigs, so I'll keep that in the rod holder and get another bait down. So they're not huge baits, just a couple of little slabs of Kiwi, little ball sinker, straight to the hook. And I'm just fishing straight up and down like that jig is as well. Now a lot of guys do like fishing those dropper rigs, and they work really well. For some reason, Gurnard come up off the bottom and grab baits off the bottom, and that's why those sort of dropper rigs work really well, especially with the little tassels and squid skirts, and then a little bit of bait, and yeah, they'll come up off the ground sort of about a foot to grab those baits, and they work really well. But I just stick with the old stray lining sort of rig, ball sinker straight to the hook.
Cheers, mate.
There you go, another Gurnard. How surprising. It's been a brilliant day. Pretty much probably going to call it a day, clean up, head back. We've got plenty in the bin, got about a dozen in the bin. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it, and we definitely did. Until next time, tight lines. Thanks for watching another great day out fishing with Real Kiwi Fishing. And you can also find more of my movies on my YouTube channel, Real Kiwi Fishing.